So moving to Gloria's questions. First question, if we are invited to give talks at different events, can we reuse the same presentation, assuming it is related to our proposed endeavor? It is less time consuming to prepare that way, but does USCIS like to see that we give a different presentation related to our proposed endeavor each time?
That's a good question. I think that giving the same presentation would be just fine. I might emphasize the presentation differently when describing it in the NIW petition. So I wouldn't emphasize that it's the same kind of presentation, but I also wouldn't necessarily feel the need to say it is different. Instead, we might just say, okay, you presented on this topic, here's the presentation deck. And then we'll say, you presented at this university, at this conference, and this, and then we don't necessarily provide the full deck or any of that. So it provides a lot for you to work with. I wouldn't necessarily go out of your way to do different presentations. I don't think it matters that much. More the presentation invitation is what matters.
Second question, what are your thoughts about speaking on a YouTube channel? Does the channel need to have a specific number of subscribers or views?
No, there's no requirement for this. I have worked with a lot of people who want me to use their YouTube channel or their TikTok or something like that. And I look at it and it doesn't seem to me that there's a lot of views or a lot of subscribers or anything like that. And I'm not a social media expert. Like I could be convinced if they provided some metrics for me to kind of compare to. But most of the time I end up saying, no, I'm not really going to use that information. If you really are truly extraordinary and you have tons of views and like influencer status and that kind of thing, I think it's most helpful when you approach an attorney with some comparison metrics and you are able to say why that is noteworthy in your field. Because the lawyer is not necessarily going to know if it's noteworthy or not. And unless it's objectively impressive, like millions of subscribers or viewers, they'll probably just say, it's not worth including.
Yeah, I looked at the channel that said she got an invitation from to speak at, and it has a couple thousand subscribers, but the videos do get a couple thousand views, and it's very niche given her proposed endeavor. So would that help?
It doesn't sound like things that I would emphasize unless there are some kind of metrics we can present that make it so that this channel is the go-to source of information for this. If we can say that, and if there's some kind of outside evidence that proves that, then yeah, that would look great. But if there's not really, and if it's more just like an informal industry held knowledge that this is a really good resource, I don't think it's worth emphasizing, because to me, it doesn't just immediately sound impressive. Like it is impressive. Like it's hard to get to that point. I'm not disparaging that account or that channel at all. It's like, what can I get? So like not trying to say it's not anything, but USCIS also isn't really up on what is important in social media. They're not going to know what is important in the industry. When you think about it, they're really looking for traditional media sources. They're looking for the name brands. They're looking for, CNN and Forbes and Business Insider and like all the ones that will come up like regularly in the cases that they're adjudicating. And so when it comes to new media and social media and YouTube and all kinds of other channels, if they don't already know about it, they will want some of those other media sources or someone super reputable to say why it's important before they accept it as important.
So if it's a major organization with a YouTube channel that maybe has 10,000 subscribers.
I don't even think then. Like I've seen some of the big companies put out their media, and then I was talking to a client the other day and I forget exactly what it was, but it was like some kind of AWS resource. And apparently getting published on this AWS resource is really impressive because it's where everyone goes to for their AWS questions and challenges. Even that's kind of considered like a company blog. It's not really considered as professional media. And USCIS, I think, will have a hard time accepting that that's kind of an important industry resource. They're just going to see it as the company's blog, like Amazon's blog. And so it's hard to demonstrate the importance of that kind of thing absent these other traditional media sources kind of weighing in with either rankings or comments about how important it is, and that kind of thing.